Dufferin-Caledon.
Welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Teena Avery. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do you have Christmas traditions? So a lot of people have different traditions. One of the traditions I used to have when my kids were smaller is we would go see Santa on Christmas Eve before he was going back to the North Pole to get ready to deliver all the toys, and then we would go out for lunch. That's just one of the many Christmas traditions that we did. One of the ones that we didn't do very often, and we're going to be talking about today, gingerbread houses. Tips and tricks on how to make your gingerbread house look phenomenal. And joining me today, we have Angie Forte. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It is truly my pleasure. And we were talking before we went on air about how I don't bake. I'm not a baker. I said if we're going to do an episode on gingerbread houses, should I pick up a kit? And Angie was a sweetheart and made up some gingerbread for us to...
No problem at all.
So you obviously love baking.
Absolutely. I've loved it since I was a little kid. Grew up in an Italian family, so lots of cooking, lots of baking. And yeah, like we have, you're talking about traditions, you know, with my kids, we baked every Christmas, lots of different things, and now I've passed the torch on to my daughter, so she's the resident baker, Jen, so yeah. But
that's perfect. Well, see, we have, in our family, we have my sister, and my sister bakes everything and anything and loves to bake. So I just sit back and let her bake, and then I just take home the leftovers.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
I mean, baking takes a certain, and for any hobby, it takes a certain amount of patience and, you know, the love of doing what you're doing and that sort of thing. And I find baking has to be so completely precise, where I like to make things like soup and that sort of thing, and you're like, look, I'm going to throw that in there and just see how it turns out. You can't do that with baking, can you?
It depends. I mean, sometimes you do, but I mean, but you're right. It's more of a chemistry. It's more like of an exact science. But the great thing about doing something like a gingerbread house is you can really let your creativity go. Mm-hmm. And that's what we've been doing, you know, in the workshop with the kids, is just like, here's the stuff, you create whatever you envision, and that's the beauty of doing something like this.
Well, tell us a little bit about the workshop that's coming up on December.
Yeah, so we had one on November 11th, mm-hmm. which was a great success. The young bakers had an amazing time. The stuff that came out was amazing. And it was 3 hours, and they had to roll out the dough. So they roll it out, cut it, bake it, and then try to put it together. So what we did was we had them, because it takes a long time to build a gingerbread house. Like you're talking hours. So what we had them do is just decorate each panel, and then that way, if we didn't have enough time to actually, you know, build it, they could go home and do it. So it wasn't like, you know, let's build it quickly and then it falls apart by the time they get home.
Right, so, which is how it would be if I made it and took my time. Absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah, it was great, and had a great time. And so yeah, we're running another one on December 9th at Westminster United Church. They're gracious enough to let us use their kitchen. And yeah, it's looking forward to it.
So it's December 9th. What time does it happen?
It's from 9 to 12.
Okay.
So I've been advertising in a few different places, just saying, you know, parents, like, drop the kids off, go do your holiday shopping, have some me time, you know, let me entertain your kids for 3 hours, and we had a blast. So
wonderful. So just to clarify too, there is an age for the group, and people should register, if I'm not correct.
Absolutely, yeah. It's grades 5 to 7. And so I guess 10 to 12 or so. But I mean, I can be a little bit flexible, but it's not really meant for like young.
For the young ones, yeah.
Not at this time, but yeah, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to ask you, so is that how you recommend people normally put a gingerbread house together, is to do the panels first and then put it together?
So, to be honest, I've always just put it together first, only because I have the time.
Right.
So if you're strapped for time, especially for young children, you want them at least to get the decorating done, and because the panels are flat, the decorations aren't sliding down.
Okay.
You know, so there's a little bit of a sort of immediate gratification of them seeing their creations almost immediately, and you don't have to worry about the decorations falling off. So, but if you have the time, yes, absolutely, put your house together. I mean, that's what I did with that, mediocre sample over there.
Not at all. We're going to get to those in just a minute, because I think I have a lot of artistic ability in different things, but putting something together like a gingerbread house, I'm just like, nope, smear it on, throw the sprinkles everywhere, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's really what it is. Like with in the workshop, you know, I don't tell them what to do. I just like, here are the tools, here are the decorations, and you just let your creativity go.
Okay.
And it's amazing what they came up with.
Awesome.
So you can't do it wrong. You
No,
really
that's right.
can't.
Like, I mean, everything that you create is a masterpiece in its
Absolutely.
own right. Absolutely. So I should be less hard on myself, but I just know that I'm just not very good at it. We're going to start from scratch as if we've never built one before. So if we decide to do the panels, or if we decide to put it together, does the icing, is there like a drying time? Like, should you leave it for a little bit so that it doesn't run?
Yeah, so the number one important thing is, well, first of all, you have to have a really good, if you're going to make your own homemade gingerbread dough, you have to have a really good recipe. So, and I've used the same one for years and years and years. So I know that it's going to roll well, it's going to form well, and it's going to dry well. And then you need your royal icing, which
Okay.
is the really hard stuff.
Okay.
You can use meringue powder. I've used like egg whites.
Okay.
And it just gets really, really hard. And that's what that's your mortar, right? So
Right.
as long as you have a really good mortar and good, it's a good foundation, right? So yeah. There's different ways of putting it together, but
And you can have themes, like you can have so much fun.
Absolutely.
Like, just get with the family, everybody's got their gingerbread house, create, have your own theme, and then, whether it's a contest or just a showing off to all the friends and family, your different gingerbread houses, or work on one bigger one together. I know that there are kits, which I think that's what I've tried in the past, which I think is a little bit more challenging, in that I'm not sure I don't know about the construction of anything. So, but I mean, like, you can get them all different shapes and sizes and that sort of thing. But I love the idea of like a theme. A company that I do some work for has a gingerbread competition every year.
Oh, cool.
So every department has to do it. So I did my part last year, but I created, and it was all about Dr. Seuss.
Oh.
So we had done some stuff from Whoville, and I was able to, help out, like make the trees with the this and that. But I was like, I don't think you want me to put it together. But yeah, you can do some pretty creative things.
Oh, absolutely. And everybody puts their own spin on it. I even, even in the workshop, same thing. Not one was the same. Like, they were all different. And some of them who went home with just the panels, I asked them, if you're going to, when you put it together, send me a picture. So I got a few pictures back, and just amazing, incredible, and it looks so challenging, but it's really not that hard.
I'm building it up to be more than I think it is, I guess. I don't know, but I'm just like, you know what it is? I think I'm a perfectionist. So when it comes to, like, when you're doing something like that, like if it doesn't look like it's going to get together, then I get frustrated,
Yes.
and then you just,
Yes.
But the idea is to have fun, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And as far as like how you were saying drying time, if you're going to put it together and you've got really good royal icing, I would put like the walls up first, and
Okay.
then leave it for at least an hour or two. Two's
Okay.
better before you attempt to put the roof on, because if you don't wait long enough, then the whole thing's going to collapse, right?
Okay.
And I've heard people of using melted sugar to put the pieces together.
Oh.
The only problem is it's hot sugar, and I wouldn't do that around young kids, but
Right.
that seems to work for a lot of people. And apparently there's an instant build, so within like minutes you have your house built, and then you can start decorating. I know.
Right? This is why this is called the tips and tricks of building your gingerbread house, because I don't know them. So yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just, for those people like me, I mean, I actually do know the answer to this, but I'm going to let you answer it. What's the difference between royal icing and just regular icing?
So royal icing is a meringue base.
Okay.
So either you use meringue powder or egg whites, and you whip it up as if you're making like a meringue.
Okay.
And it dries really hard. It's like mortar,
Okay.
really, really hard. Whereas just like buttercream or something, I mean, it
Wouldn't
does.
hold, yeah.
It wouldn't hold it. It's one thing to ice a cake, or I mean, you could use buttercream on top, but not for building. Absolutely not. It wouldn't
Okay.
stick together.
So let's have a look at the house that you brought us, and she's going, Andy's going to try to make me do something that that I'm always hesitant to do, is, do something artistic while other people are watching. But so you gave us a lovely example of a beautiful gingerbread house here, right? We'll just spin it around so everyone can have a look. It's got the beautiful windows and the trees, and and the I don't know if you can see it, but maybe I'll tip the wrong way that way. But there's a little walkway made out of marshmallows, and there's the Cheerios for the roof. It's very, very beautiful. And then you've brought me one to attempt to do something with.
Absolutely. You can do it. You can do it.
I can do it. So, and let's talk about some of the different things that you have in here. I'll just kind of hold it up, but tell us a little bit about some of the things that you can use to decorate.
Absolutely. So I found that this idea of having like a tray like this for the young bakers was really great, because then they could each take a little bit of everything, right?
Right.
So we've got like these really cool Christmas tree shaped pretzels that I found at Bulk Barn. We've got some gumdrops. We've got some tiny chocolate covered chips. Some people like to use like shredded wheat on the roof, you know, and it looks like a thatched roof. And then we've got some colored sugars there. We've got some shredded coconut, snow, some Fruit Loops just to add some color. We've got some colored sprinkles, some Christmas themed. We've got colored marshmallows, and then we've got these really cool. They're little tiny lights.
Right.
I found those at Bulk Barn. Has like a whole bunch of stuff.
Like candy little lights.
Oh, they're so cool. Like, if you have the patience, you know, to put them. Yeah.
Talking about the wrong person on that one. So we just have a few minutes left. So where should I start? With the roof, do you think?
You can start wherever your heart desires.
Okay.
Wherever you feel.
And I'm just going to push it out, and I'm just going to try to copy what you've already done, because I feel like if I try something new, it might be. I'm going to try to. I'm a little nervous about this, Angie. I'll be honest. So we're just going to try to make a pattern. Oops. And it doesn't have to be perfect, obviously.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's very forgiving. So the icing, I had it in the fridge, so it might be a little bit.
Well, I'm going to just kind of go. I don't know. I'm not very good at this. See what I mean?
That's okay. I want to correct you, but I don't want to be that person.
Be that person. Be that person. Tell me what I'm doing, because it looks kind of funny. Look at. See, I'm going to turn it around. Oops, wrong way. I'm going to turn it around this way, and I'm being messy. So tell me, how do I make this?
So you just have to hold so if you hold this, it should be held from the top.
Ah, okay, so that makes more sense.
Right?
So then
you get more, you know.
Oh, more ability to do that,
more
right?
More control.
Look at that. See, like, honest to goodness,
that's
I'm
still
just
pretty
like
lame, but.
Well, you know, anyways, I'm going to keep doing it, and then.
That looks amazing. Look at this. That's better than what I did.
Well, we just have about a minute left, but I really appreciate. Any other quick tips that you want to give people with regards to building their gingerbread houses?
The only thing, just have fun with it. Don't have high expectations, especially when you're working, you know, if you're having like young bakers with you. Everything is beautiful, so it doesn't matter. It's all about just spending the time and just, you know, getting your creativity out.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you can decorate it with the candies and the windows and all that sort of thing. So yes, I did actually. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to see if I can just turn it. So you can see it got progressively better as I went down, because the top one, maybe we would hide it with, I don't know what we would hide it with. But, you know, we could always, you know, make the top not so scary looking. And pretend like I knew what I was doing right from the get-go.
Looks amazing.
No, that is absolutely wonderful. I really appreciate you coming in here to do all of this with us, and hopefully everybody who's watching will be able to come out to the workshop if you can, and if not, the information will come online. You can look for some more baking opportunities. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for tuning in. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
I still remember the games, the laughter, the footsteps through the hallway. I'll never forget the hard times.
Every day I come back from work, it's always like this. We're yelling in front of the kids.
The help we needed. How far we've come.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Allison.
Coming up on the next parenting show, we're talking about taming the rude attitude. If you've ever said, I would never talk to my parents that way, you need to tune into this show. That's only on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Dufferin Life. If you're just tuning in, you tuned in at a great time. We're going to be talking about something that I think we need to create awareness for, as well as it's about animals, and I love animals. So joining me today, we have Angela Van Bremen. She is from Procyon Wildlife. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It's really appreciated.
Well, I'm glad you could be here, and we're talking about Procyon Wildlife. So why don't we start off by just you telling us a little bit about Procyon and the things that you do.
Procyon Wildlife is a rehabilitation center located in Beaton, Ontario, and we cover a very wide area of helping wild animals in distress.
Okay.
So what will happen is if there is an injured, orphaned animal, then people will contact our hotline and they will make arrangements to bring the animal to the center.
Okay.
And then we will, if they're very young, they need tending on a very regular basis every several hours. If their eyes are closed, for example. For baby squirrels or raccoons. Squirrels, for example, are born with their eyes closed, no fur. Same thing with many baby animals.
Okay.
And so what happens is they need to have the same kind of conditions replicated as if their mother was still caring for them.
Okay.
And so it's round-the-clock work. So during the peak season, which basically starts from March 1st until October, we have 3 shifts of volunteers that work throughout the day, starting at 6 o'clock in the morning and going to well into around 11 o'clock at night, or perhaps even later, depending on the needs of the animals. And so roughly 150 volunteers help us over the course of the high season, because we need at least 4 or 5 per shift.
Okay.
And there's 3 shifts, as I mentioned. So it's hard work, but it's very rewarding work. And at the end of this, when these animals are rehabilitated, either because of injury or having been orphaned because they lost their mama somehow, then what's really fantastic is releasing them back to the wild, which is where they were intended to be all along. We don't receive any government funding, and so for this reason we're always looking for ways to fundraise. And so during COVID, obviously, as many charities were hurt from not being able to have that ability to fundraise as much, we got sort of creative and we did online auctions during Christmas and that sort of thing. And but now that we're back to somewhat a normal type of life again, we are just so excited that we're going to be having this fundraising gala.
Right.
So we don't receive the government funding, so what we have to do is rely on the goodness of private individuals as well as corporations to help us out.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the fundraiser. Let's talk about what it's all about.
Well, it's going to be a really fun evening. What we're trying to do is make this a fun and joyous occasion, with a focus, obviously, on raising as much funds as we can for Procyon. I had mentioned that we have a lot of volunteers, and so we do have some staff, but our goal is to increase our ability to have more staff on hand. And this is one of the main reasons for having our fundraiser, is to have the ability to have more supervisory staff on hand that are there all the time, because we rely on the goodness of our volunteers, which are amazing individuals, but they have jobs, they work really hard. So therefore, this is why we are having the fundraiser. So the evening will be amazing. We're going to have a fantastic we have a fantastic array of silent auctions and live auctions.
Nice.
So we have a wonderful auctioneer coming in. His name is Dave Fulton. We also have a fabulous MC. His name is Carlo Coppola, and he's actually a singer as well. and so we're kind of excited about the fact that he's going to be our MC. We also have a very fine individual by the name of Mars Gianmarco, who is a fantastic musician and has a band called Echo, and he often plays at Revival 1863.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's known in Orangeville, and he really will get the dance floor going. We're excited about the quality of the silent auction items that we have available, and we have some amazing live auction items too. So there's leaf tickets, there's jewelry, there's all kinds of wonderful things. It's a great opportunity to do some Christmas shopping. The timing is right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when and where is this happening?
On December 1st at 5:30 at the beautiful Best Western Plus in Orangeville.
Wonderful. So all this week we're leading up to this wonderful event. If you happen to be watching and it's Sunday, December 2nd, Saturday,
December 1st.
Yeah. So if you're watching the show, and it's actually the day after, because the show will be running on the 2nd. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is to go online, check out the website that's on the screen right now. And if you're able to support, please do so if you're not able to make it. And one of the things that we've always said, Angela, is if there are people that can't afford to go out to different events and to fundraisers and that sort of thing, the best thing you can do is help spread the word. And that's what we're here to do, right?
Yes.
Is to help make more people aware of Procyon Wildlife and the wonderful things that you're doing. And if you're not able to go, if you have plans, if you're watching this and it just happens to be the day after, well, there's lots of things you can still do. Just check out the website to do it.
Thank you. If I may add, we are also very grateful for sponsors who are sponsoring it. So if there's any corporations that are listening, we would be definitely very grateful for any kind of donations that way. We do have a cutoff date for ticket sales,
Okay.
Which is Friday at midnight. But definitely check out the website, and there's different ways of doing donations for us as well. Everything is very prominently displayed on our website.
Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit more about the Ontario wildlife that you work with. You had mentioned squirrels and raccoons. Is there limitations to what you can like the types of animals that you can take in, or?
Well, basically, we cover almost any wild animals that are in our basic area, so within about a 70-kilometer radius of roughly Orangeville. And so we take in pretty much everything. We are working on, our dreams are to have a really nice aviary eventually. So although we do care for some birds, we do work with another wildlife center who is more geared towards taking care of birds. But it's our dream to have an aviary.
Okay.
To really set that up. One of the interesting things that you might find is that just when Procyon first began, they were taking care of roughly 50 animals per year. That would have been starting around 2009.
Okay.
And now we take care of almost 2,000 animals, or over in some cases. I think this year will be over 2,000. And so what's interesting is pre-COVID, we were maybe running at about 800 animals per year, and during these last 4 years it's exploded, which is the other reason why there's so much additional pressure placed on our wildlife center. And so we have the need for volunteers as well all the time, because we actually cannot take in any more animals than we have animal care workers to help them,
Right.
because otherwise we can't take care of them.
You're not really helping them.
We're not
Right.
helping them. So we always have to equalize that. And so that's a really important thing. But I think the key issue for us is because there's so much more development with roadways and with subdivisions, I think this is why in just several years we've seen such a huge increase from roughly that 800 to 900 to 2,000 animals. So it's really
they're
good.
being displaced,
They're
right?
being
and
displaced.
then sometimes they end up getting hurt because they've gone to areas that they're not used to, and with the roads and more population of people and that sort of thing. And I think that just like any animal, they all get scared of something, and things can happen when that
Definitely.
happens.
One part of the program that is available through Procyon and our custodian and director, Deborah Spurlar, She handles this, and it's fantastic. We have an education program.
Okay.
And so what we do, and this is available not for all ages, so going from students in school to corporations, where Deborah will go and talk about wildlife and the special needs that they have and create more awareness. It's a fantastic education program. So if anyone is listening out there that is interested in having their corporation learn more, or institution or foundations or schools, absolutely. We would be very happy to offer this education aspect, because by learning to understand wildlife and their needs, we can actually help them too to learn how to coexist, which is what we must do. The more building that we see around, we need to make sure that we can coexist. So when you see a baby fawn, when you see a fawn out by itself, is it really abandoned? Maybe not. So whenever you're not sure, it's best to call us too, like go to our website and call us. Because, for example, often we will get wild animals in that people think they're rescuing, but they're actually just being left alone by mama. She's foraging. So in the case of a fawn, they're left alone really and get only fed in the morning and at nighttime.
Right.
And the rest of the time they're left alone. So signs like if the fawn's ears are curled over, or that's a sign of dehydration, then there's some worry to be. There's some worry then. So always call. Our hotline is there. Call for advice.
Well, that was actually going to be what I was going to ask you, because sometimes you can come across animals that might be hurt, and it's obvious that they're in distress, and people want to approach immediately, and some animals maybe you don't. So how do we know what to do when we come across an animal that happens to be in distress, where it's obvious?
Yeah, where it's very obvious, call us. Where it's not obvious, call us anyway, and just make sure, because
they can be frightened, can they not?
They can be frightened. Rabbits can be frightened to death, literally. People will pick up a baby rabbit and think, oh, that's so cute. Look how calm and sweet he is. But actually, he's terrified inside.
Right.
And I don't have the correct term for it, but they literally can die of fright.
Right.
And so this is a big issue. Often people will find orphaned squirrels or raccoons, and they try to take care of them themselves, and they shouldn't do that. There's a couple of reasons. One reason is they try to feed them and they don't get fed the right things.
Right.
We actually purchase about $25,000 worth of baby formula that's specifically formulated for the different types of animals that we take care of.
Right.
So that's one thing.
Yeah, I think, I don't mean to interrupt you, and I'm so sorry that I am, because it's such important information.
Time is running short.
But Angela, time is running short, and I just wanted to make sure, for more information, please do visit the website. Please reach out, find out the do's and don'ts of how to take care, or what you should do when you find a distressed animal. Angela, thank you so much for joining me.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you very much. It was a real delight to be here today.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best with your event, and thank you for joining us. And until next time, bye-bye for now.
Bye now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
This is a perfectly healthy child. What's unhealthy are birth alerts. a racist practice that may stop this indigenous